Hello, and welcome back to some quick tips on how to be a better human being, or better reader, better thinker, better brainy person. And today we're going to talk about morning routines. My philosophy here is, if you're engaged with something really intellectually heavy, if you're engaged like I am, I'm just constantly reading stuff, constantly getting stuff jammed in my brain, stuff that doesn't make sense, stuff that I'm trying to work through. And if I don't have some sort of structure in my life, in my ordinary life, the life in a concrete, if I don't have some structure that will kind of like ground me down in reality, I feel like if I leave myself just to my pure intellectual pursuits, I tend to go bonkers crazy real quick. So at least that's my personal philosophy. If you want to be effective in your studies, if you want to be effective when you're tackling something like philosophy, literature, or something heavier like mathematics, well, it really helps to have some sort of stuff to ground you into reality on a daily basis. And I feel like, here's my morning routine. Here's what I do on a daily basis. And here's the kind of stuff that really grounds me down on a daily basis. First item on my morning routine list is that I go for a jog first thing in the morning. When I wake up, I typically wake up at around, 7 or 7:30, give or take. So since I was a sophomore in high school, I loved running on a daily basis. I loved just going out there, going for a jog. And I used to run like 2 kilometers every morning. But now I'm shrinking that down because I don't have much time to, run around anymore. I shrunk that down to 1 mile, which is about 1.6 kilometers every morning, and I feel like that's just a perfect way for me to just kind of like anchor myself into the day. And what's really crazy is that for brainy people, sometimes we tend to neglect exercise, as a thing. You're like, all the activity over here should be directed towards the brain. But you'd be surprised how much better your brain functions with just a little bit of that exercise in. I don't really think human beings are programmed to sit there for 6 hours a day just to read books. Human beings didn't come with glasses by default, and human beings didn't come with back pains by default. And if you think that your intellectual labor is going to absolve you from all the bodily pains, well, I hate to break it to you, you can't skip exercise. If you skip exercise, well, I've personally experienced a lot of back problems and a lot of foggy brain problems. So I'd recommend you to adopt some sort of simple exercise into your daily routine just to keep your brain healthy and your body healthy. And the second item that I do on a daily basis, which is I love to read 30 minutes after my morning run. So after I've made my morning coffee after my run, after I've settled into my chair, I read for 30 minutes of a really dense philosophy book first thing in the morning or first thing after my coffee. And here's the trick. After reading 30 minutes of that philosophy book, I would not let myself read another page of that philosophy book for the rest of the day. It sort of sets a cap on how much philosophy I could take on a daily basis because I know these books are extremely heavy, extremely dense to digest, really hard to digest. So I can realistically get about 10 pages of one of these books in every day. So that sort of frees me up to read whatever I want for the rest of the day. So 30 minutes of reading a really dense philosophy book is a must for me every morning, and I really do enjoy it. And if you want to integrate more difficult reading into your life, consider just reading 5 to 10 pages of a really difficult thing on a daily basis. And if you really built that habit up, well, that's going to accumulate into something real big over the years. So you don't really have to worry about not reading enough. If you get those 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, it's gonna accumulate over time. And then again, I feel like a broken record. It's about consistency, not about how much you could read in a single sitting. And then after my little philosophy reading session, I like to jump on an app called Babbel on my phone and review French for 5 to 10 minutes. And speaking of which, Babbel was kind enough to sponsor today's video. So today's video is brought to you by Babbel, and Babbel is simply a language learning app that's going to improve your pronunciation of words, that's going to improve your language skills with 5 to 10 minutes of daily practice. And this is an app that offers a lot of languages, that caters to a lot of language learning levels, so you can simply start with some of the easier courses and work your way up the ladder, so one day you can actually speak this language fluently. And one of the really neat things with this app is that it has this really great speech recognition system, so you can actually practice colloquial French. So the phrases in Babbel are not your typical academic French, coming out of your professor. Babbel's going to teach you French that works in the streets. not just in the textbooks. But nevertheless, it also works great for textbooks too. I actually personally use Babbel to review a lot of the complicated grammar rules with their drills. So if you want to consolidate your grammar, Babbel is also great for that too. Hence, if you want to learn a brand new language over your summer break or your winter break if you live in Australia, Babbel has a few subscription options, including a lifetime subscription option, which you could check out in the description down below. And this is something amazing because as a lucky viewer of this channel, you will get 65% off of your subscription if you follow the link in the description down below. Alors si tu veux lire les auteurs en français ou commander un café en français par exemple, click the link and learn a new language. It doesn't have to be French, but try it out. It's something great. It's something I do on a daily basis, and it's just a whole lot of fun. And after my Babbel practice is the last part of my morning routine, which is journaling. Now, I made a separate video about this method of journaling that I'm currently doing on my computer, which is kind of like a, post-reading reflection sort of thing. So, before the Babbel practice, there's just kind of like this 30-minute philosophy reading block. So this journaling session is going to be catered towards this reading session that I've done for 30 minutes. So I can immediately consolidate what I've read for those 30 minutes into, well, my computer. I don't really want to waste time talking about it here because I made a separate video about this syntopticon sort of journaling method for your own philosophical reading, or, just any kinds of reading, which I'm going to link to in the description down below. And after the journaling session, that's sort of like the start of my day. It's going to be like, that's the time when I, put my coat on and catch a train to university, or heading to the city to meet someone, or head to the library to read. Like I said before, especially for brainy people or people with some sort of like, a messy temperament. For me, it's especially important to ground myself down with these routines in place because without them, the stuff in here could bleed into my life and my life could just turn to a ball of chaos. So I'd rather keep out of chaos in here and not let them get out by keeping these routines. And mind you, my routine might not work for you. So take inspiration from my routine, but do not copy my routine because it might not work for you. Running is not for everybody. Reading philosophy every morning is not for everybody. Pick out your ideal sort of like energy level throughout the day and then determine your own routine. There's no perfect set of like a golden standard for a morning routine. I figured my morning routine out over the course of a few years, and now it's settling into something that's quite repetitive. It's quite comfortable for me to do, and it works great for me, but do not adopt my routine. Find your own through experimentation. And I'm rather curious, what's your morning routine like? And, are you kind of like a brainy person? And how do you structure your day to keep out those chaotic thoughts in your skull, Leave me your morning routine in the comment section down below because I'd love to see what you guys are up to. Nevertheless, thank you for watching this very short video on my morning routine, and I will chat to you in the next video. This is another quick tips episode, or this is another really short practical episode, and this is RC Waldun, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.